Okay, we have our shading and shadows tutorial, part 4, which I'm just going to kind of show you some examples of some shading on different objects and different designs and different tangles, if you will. So this is a really good example here. This is the object that I made here. It's coil, but here it kind of, I mean, maybe you can imagine a little bit of a ribbon or something there. But once you add the shadows, and it does help that I put the little bar in the middle, but once you add the shadows, suddenly like, oh my gosh, this is really wrapping around. I mean, the shadows absolutely bring this piece to life. It's a really good example of how just adding a little bit of shadow. And here you have some, some shadows on the edges to make the round shape, kind of come to life. And we have some shading on the inside, because that's kind of put that to the background. So that looks like it's back further. These pieces are closer to you and these pieces are back further. So it even helps more get that feeling that it's going around and around in a circle. Next, this one here kind of is, looks like a upholstery, like a cushion or something. And you go from, just really some X's and dots. But as soon as you put in the shadows, it's suddenly like, oh my God, that's a piece of upholstery. And, you have a little bit of shadow around the buttons. So you get that, that kind of sense of their, rounded too. And at this point, you see the light is on this top corner. So the sun is going to, or the light source is going to be coming from here. Do you see that? So on the other side of these buttons, the far side, is the shadow where the light source is not hitting as much. And in the seams, that's where we're doing the recessing. We want those to look further back, even though it's just a tiny bit further back than these top sections here that are poofing out from the cushion effect. So we just put a little bit of shadow on those. And because the light source is on top, this is a little bit lighter. I've made the shadow come a little bit further out on the bottoms to give a little bit more of that, kind of shadow effect from the light source coming from this direction. Yep. Next we have banners. This one is really effective too. Even though, you can kind of imagine that, these are sort of banners or wavy pieces of paper or something here. But once you put the shadows, I mean, you can really see how this is like folds of cloth coming around. And this is very, very simply just putting the shadows on the part of the cloth that's supposed to be behind. So this is the part that's on top and it goes behind. So, on the top part where the sun's hitting it, behind the sun's not hitting it. On the top part the sun's hitting it, behind the sun's not hitting it. So that is just a really, really simple way to do that. It's just, shading these little bit of areas and kind of making them come out a little bit. Another one for just, kind of showing depth is in here. Like these lines I've kept completely white. So they look like they're bars or lines or, just pieces that are highlighted and coming definitely above. They're not part of this design. Obviously they are, but but because they're highlighted, they look like they're actually sitting above the design behind, which is just shaded a little bit. And I put a little extra shadow in the corners here just to kind of show that these are, kind of one on top of the other too. This one is really fun because it goes from being a bunch of squiggly lines to being these kind of wavy, bulbous sort of shapes coming in and out. And it's a little bit of a, kind of a trick of the eye too, because, this one's going in and this one's coming out and this one's going in. So they're kind of all overlapping each other, but not sort of, a little bit of Escher style of, illustration going on, just because you put these shadows on the parts that are supposed to be going back. Like these are up higher and poking out, and this is down a little bit lower and, in the background, so that it's shadowed. And the last one I have is this one, which is really, again, one of the easier. You just have some little pyramid lines, but once you put the shadows on one side, you can really see that pyramid effect. I mean, this is, the sun here is coming from this way, So this is lit, and on the other side is dark. So actually, you know, probably from up above too, because you're getting a little bit of, you know, light down in the corner. But just adding that little bit of shadow along those lines just really immediately makes it look like those are, you know, actual sort of pyramid shapes. It's really cool. Okay, great. That's all I have for now. And if I think of anything else to give you about shading, I will do another video. Thanks.